Welcome to our session on bullying. This is our in-class presentation with two Riley County police officers. I wanted to give you a first-hand view of what this presentation was all about, so we're going to go ahead and watch our video.
What's up, guys? Hey, I'm Officer Tyrone Townsend. I'm actually a school resource officer with the Riley County Police Department, the school resource officer with Manhattan School District 33. I work at West Campus now. I worked ninth grade last year, so it's my second year working with kids. This year, I deal with mostly sophomores and juniors and seniors in the Midwest. Last year, I did go to elementary schools for some small bullying type of thing. If it's a huge case, we try to. The thing with SROs is a picky thing. They see us in the uniform. They know what law enforcement we've done. We have all the badge, but we try not. If it's we're going to prosecute you. We try to have another cop do it separate, so that way when I walk into the building just to say hi, it's not, oh, you're the cop that's coming to arrest me, But I will talk to them about bullying, especially those. Other officer in the picture is Sonny Gregoire. She's awesome. She's the ninth grade SRO this year. Like I said, I'm a grad student, so I kind of know what you guys are going through, but I'm part-time since I work full-time. So I take 2 classes a quarter at Northwestern, and then my wife is a 5th grade teacher in Waukegan. That's it. You click on that first video. So it's a video. It's another officer. He's not an SRO, but he's a community officer.
You might have to minimize the other.
He does. He's from Little Rock PD. Here. Not sure good at this, Rachel. So that's Rachel. Rachel and I used to work at AU. Is anybody over 22 in here? I was gonna say you shouldn't really know us unless you're older. I guess that means it's Anybody ever seen him before? Officer Tommy. I don't know what all your jurisdictions are. Junction City has an SRO. They have 3 or 4. We have 3. Sonia, and then Officer Swearingen works the county, so Blue Valley and Raleigh High School. Amigo has one. They just got a new one. There's a Pot County Sheriff Deputy that is Rock Creek. But I don't know. We're here for you guys. I think the SRO programs in the bigger cities, the school districts work with them more. So we're a good resource. Your school social workers, school counselors are really good resources for stuff that you guys will have, you guys will experience. A lot of stuff is, I tell people it's not really black and white. It's just, you're just going to get stuff on the fly. It might be from a kid telling you, a kid took my lunch, the stereotypical one, to my dad's molested me. It could be that serious. So you just kind of have to adapt and be on the fly. So you can go to the next one. So we'll talk about social media. You'll deal with that a lot. I just dealt with that today actually with the kid's little brother. He was in 4th grade. Yeah, so I'll talk about that as much as I can. But text messages, phone calls, because your kids have phones. Unless you're in a school district where per policy the kids aren't allowed to have phones. I don't know, some elementary schools that's like that. They put their phone up, or you guys have some little cabinet or something like that. The high school, they don't get their phones up. So they just have their ear pods in the whole time. Good luck. So, the AP classes are totally different. I think that's high school would be. The AP classes, they're all in tune, and then the other classes, the kids are just in their iPods and they're not even paying attention. So, but that's high school. Because you guys are all elementary ed, right? So not even middle school, right? It's going to be 6th grade and down. Okay, so that's good. All right, Rachel, go to the next one. So, you guys are a lot younger than me, so I'm 34. I misspoke. I thought I was 33 this morning for some reason, but I am 34. I have to accept that. So the kids tell me all the time new stuff. Twitter, I don't know why I forgot Twitter. But I feel like the little kids really aren't on Twitter that much. Snapchat is one they use a lot, and Instagram and YouTube. Those three right there. The other ones they use sometimes. I'm sure you'll find, but Snapchat is like their main way to communicate, just like high school and probably college maybe. But if you don't have a phone account, just get a track phone from Walmart, $20, connect to Wi-Fi, boom, you're in business. So that's why little kids have them all the time. Instagram accounts, I talked about this later with some bullying. I had one girl that did like an Instagram account, and she had like flowers and took like really pretty pictures of stuff that she made, like plants, and people made fun of it, and she, took it down. Because like this generation is like people, like kids are into starting their own kind of thing. Instagram is a good way to do that. The boys will talk about that too, with the case with the boys starting like a YouTube channel, and the kids will pick them on, because of that. Any other apps that I'm missing, or any other social media stuff that you guys seen with little kids? Are those the main ones? What's up?
You could talk about video games that are online.
You're on it. We do talk about that. There we go. see my stuff earlier. So that's the big one too. She's on it. What's your name? Michelle. So Michelle's on it. Like the kids will play Call of Duty. What's it? Redemption. Yeah. And they'll talk mad stuff and blah blah blah. But it will carry over to school. Sometimes, or one kid sucks, he got killed in the game, and now he's feeling bad or she's feeling bad. And it's also on the police side, it's a way like there's chat rooms, so sometimes you have to be cognizant of that, and we'll talk about ways that you can know about this stuff, but there have been cases where older adults have tried to communicate with kids through the gaming system, whether they're trying to have sex with them, or they're trying to get new pictures, or they're just trying to be their friend. Either way, that's a lot on the psyche to have like a 30-something, 40-something-year-old trying to be friends with a fourth grader. It's probably just inappropriate. And the kids, like we'll talk about this, if you build a relationship with them, they'll talk to you, you'll find out this stuff. But this is also like a big attraction for bullying. Just because, for one, also, some kids don't even have this platform. So what about the kid that's too poor and they don't have an Xbox or PlayStation or something like that? So now they're not in the circle. They're not in that. But I see now people have laptops. Probably everybody has a phone and laptop. Yeah, you have a laptop. So if you're the person that doesn't have it in class, then you're kind of like out the circle. So you go to the next one. I talked about this a lot. Know your students. Know who's more tech savvy, more mature. And you guys' age, at their age, some kids are very advanced. I have a son who's 3, and he knows how to use my iPad. Like, he knows how to go to YouTube. He knows where Netflix is at. We have let's say Molly, Tyrone, and Harrison. And he knows his is green, and he clicks on it, and he knows his movies. He can't type. He knows how to take pictures with the phone. He knows all this stuff. He's 3. So I can only imagine that a 4th grader knows a lot more than you probably think they do. Pay attention to those relationships in class. We talked about this. Kids think they are in love, and they date. It causes a lot of drama, and then it causes bullying because there's a lot of misunderstanding of what relationships are. What you like me, I like you is, and that's not necessarily your job. I'm not telling you guys to step over your comfort limit, but if they trust you, they will talk to you. Rumor mill is a big one. We'll get into that, just like the game of telephone and how that works, because you'll see it a lot. You go to the next one, Rachel. So I kind of got ahead of myself because I didn't put this in there, but this was more for when you do get nude pictures or something like that. A kid tells you about, I have nude pictures on my phone. I found this on Snapchat. Jimmy posted to the story. Here you go. So your name's Kat. So if I'm a 4th grader and I say, hey, I saw this on Snapchat and it's a picture of a naked girl, like, what would you do? I said, my friends posted this stuff on their story.
Not look at the phone and take it away and contact the principal.
Yeah, that's a start. Yeah. Anybody else? Besides this stuff I'm telling you to do right now. anybody had this experience at all? Not like trying to get you guys on the spot, but any like your adult friends or something got nudes out? High school? 'Cause you guys are young, so I'm sure they were still sending nudes like 3-4 years ago.
When I was in high school, there was a really big scandal when I was a sophomore that there was a freshman who they had like sent a video out and it was like going around and it was a really big deal. I wasn't involved in it, so I didn't really know what was going on.
No. Okay. Well, it happens in elementary school. So once again, she captured the right thing. You don't need to screenshot it, save it, anything like that, because you can talk a little bit about that. Why are not supposed to do that?
Yeah, so more on the, like, if you go back towards the investigative side, so I work day shift right now, and we generally take those, like he said, they don't want the kids to see him as, you know, he is someone who interacts with them on a daily basis. When he walks in, he doesn't want the kid to think, oh, you're the one who filed charges against me, you're the reason I'm going to court. So generally that comes back to a patrol officer, and it then gets sent over to an investigator. But the thing that's important is that you don't want to screenshot it, you don't want to take a photo of it, you don't want to send it on to the principal, because that's recreating it, and technically that means that you committed a crime as well. Even with us as investigators, we cannot take a photo of that photo or save it and send it down to evidence on a CD. There's certain avenues that we have to go through. We have to do phone downloads where we actually take all of the students' phones. So if one girl sends it to a guy who sends it to 15 kids, we now have 17 phones that we have to download to get that information, because it is also recreation if we do anything with that. So if you get it, just make sure, don't tell them, not to send it, and just, you can lock the phone, go contact your principal, and then they're gonna contact the police, and the police will know where, based on their policies, whether you work here in Riley County or in another jurisdiction, what you guys' next step is from there.
You guys will be, I'm trying to tell you, get you ready, you'll be shocked. Just go like this, I was shocked. And I'm an older person than you guys, parent, all this stuff, and I was just like, wow, these little kids are really doing this. So I told the last class, like, we had a case where a lot of boys were taking pictures of their penises, just for fun. And they put it in a Snapchat group called Boo. I don't know, they just voluntarily, nobody was really a victim. They all were by age, but nobody was doing it, from what we can tell, without like their permission. Like they did it voluntarily. But the thing about it is they're so young, like their minds aren't there. So one kid could be getting pressured to do it. There's all these different things that come with their bodies and their minds just aren't necessarily together. Anyway, it's a touchy thing, but the thing about teachers is a lot of times in these schools they don't have SROs, or even a kid that doesn't have a relationship with a social worker. You're the adult that they trust. So they're gonna come to you, unless you have parents in your classroom that they talk to and communicate. Most of the time, they're gonna come to you. So just be ready for it. YouTube, this is that case I was talking about, Patrick. So Patrick was a really nice kid. It sucked. His mom called us, called the assistant principal, and then she called me. But he had this YouTube channel that he was promoting his pet fair, and everything was going good to this boys called him gay and other names just for having the channel. So he was all excited about it. He took it down, and he had some thoughts, like some halfway suicidal thoughts, but it was more of, he was just very sad, depressed. He didn't want to come back to school because those same boys were in the same class. So it was like, and he rode the bus with one of them. I remember that, because his mom had to change her work schedule and start driving to school. So it's just an example of how, like, the kids, like, if you monitor the way their body language is, you monitor the way, your kids better than anybody. So Courtney is usually like, she's eating the candy now, she's hanging out, and all of a sudden she just got her head down, and she's just not the same. Or you guys will have assigned seats. My wife, she does assign seats in the class, but if they're asking you, can I move seats? Maybe not on the spot, but after class or maybe at recess, pull Courtney aside and say, hey, why do you want to change seats? What happened? And then so maybe you can, it's more just paying attention. But I know you guys are busy. I know my wife's a teacher, 7 years. I know you guys are very, very busy. And it's hard to keep track of. She's got 25 kids now. So every single kid, you got kids with different IEPs that you got to keep track of. You got this para. This kid goes to this reading specialist. I know it's hard, but if you can, just try to pay attention to those little details. Drama. So high school level, all day, every day. It's so and so broke up with this person, and she's dating my ex. And hey, Tyrone, I gotta talk to you. And I'm like, what is it about? Is it something serious? Well, yeah. So like she's talking shit about me on Instagram. I know it. And I'm like, how'd you know it? Well, Kat told me. I'm like, Kat told you what? That Kate was talking shit. So you didn't hear from Caitlin? No, I didn't hear from Caitlin. So then I go to Kat and I'm like, Kat, who'd you hear from? Well, I heard it from Stacy. Yes. Stop it. I couldn't see it. I just saw the eye and I'm like, Stacy, okay. So then Kat heard from Stasha. Then we finally get around to Caitlin. And Caitlin was like, it's some movie or some lyric from a song. It has nothing to do with anything. But like it'll just keep going, and you'll get that, and then that's when like the whole movement starts. You can go to the next one, and like it goes back to the same thing, like identifying who the drama kings and queens are in class. I don't know your policies as far as you can get them moved or you can switch them seats. Maybe they don't need to sit around the same people. You can tell, the kids will tell you. Rumors, the telephone game. The other day, well, Friday we had a girl get shot at the high school. She got shot at home. So I already said that when she got shot at high school. A high school, Manhattan high school student was shot Friday night. But she was shot in the pelvis and the arm. But she was shot by her uncle, accidentally discharged. He was trying to clean his weapon. So it happened Friday night, 10 o'clock, had nothing to do with the high school. Weekend goes by, Snapchat, so-and-so gets shot, blah, blah, blah. Monday morning, no one tells me. I get to work and these parents are at the high school and they're like, oh, someone got shot at the high school. No one got shot at the high school. There's a gun at the high school. My kid's at high school. There's no gun at the high school. I'm just the only one that has a gun. And then it's just like, it builds and builds and builds, you know? It's just like this game that they play. But you have to stop. As soon as you hear one thing about so-and-so's mom is losing her job, just be nosy. Like, what are you talking about? Stop talking about that. As soon as they leave, just talk to them about how'd you hear that? What's going on? And it could be the truth. Maybe so-and-so's mom is losing her job. And they know about it because her mom told them. But it's not anyone else's business. Let's talk about class. But most of the time it just keeps building. And like I put there's no real place in the classroom. It's just kind of stupid and it shouldn't be there. And that leads to further and further like mystery and bullying and talking about people. So does that make sense? I'm sure you guys have seen that. This is a case I dealt with. I changed the names. Tim is my brother, and then that's his girlfriend. But this is a real case. But they're 6th grade students in a relationship for a month. They're both popular. Tim broke up with Chelsea, and then he began to date Ashley. So in this case, they're 6th graders, so they're both, well, one's 11 and one's 12. So can anybody see any issues that can happen with this? Or like, so as a teacher, you find out about this, and Chelsea is like heartbroken. It's causing drama in the classroom. Like, how would you do this if you were a teacher? Or you just like ignore it? Like, what would you do? Because it has nothing to do with math. But you know what I mean? It's going to cause other issues. Anybody want to take a stab at it?
I think it kind of depends on the situation. So, like, if it is causing problems in the classroom, then you could, like, set her closer to where you're at and, like, away from the people that she's going to be, like, talking to and spreading drama with. But like, if it's not causing a problem, just, like, let it work itself out.
So separate the two, Ashley and Chelsea?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about Tim? You just get a freebie?
I mean, like, split them all up. Like, just like, all in the different areas.
I like that.
But then, like, also, like, whoever they're going to be, like, really comfortable talking to and, like, sharing, like, oh, like, I can't believe she's dating that guy. I was just dating him.
Yes.
Like, if she's going to be talking like that to people, then, like, don't specifically know who she's going to talk to like that and don't put them with those people.
I like that answer. Yeah, separate them. You have control of the classroom, you have control of the situation, and then you can monitor it well, and then they can work out for the class. I like that. That's good. Anybody else? Well, I'll tell you what actually happened. Student last class this morning actually guessed. So what happened is the teacher pulled Chelsea and Ashley together alone, where everybody else went to recess or gym. and she asked him like, "Hey, what's the beef? What's going on?" And Ashley, I think we're going to talk about this later about puberty and how girls and boys develop and minds develop a little bit more or less. But at this age, like basically Chelsea was into dating boys. She had dated a boy before. She kind of knew what was going on. Ashley had no idea. So basically, Ashley didn't even know Tim was even her boyfriend. I know that sounds crazy, but you got to think of little kids. So she didn't know. She just know that Tim told her that he liked her. But when you say you like somebody to a little kid, sometimes it just means I like you as a friend. That's it. She's a little kid. She doesn't know anything. So Ashley starts crying. She actually didn't even think that it was anything wrong. And then once she found out her friend, her best friend, was really thinking that they were dating, she was distraught. And she was like, I had no idea. We were just friends. And like, I believe her. We believe her. Like, it was just like she just wasn't at that developmental stage. So all it took was the teacher just 5 minutes, bring them together, and say, hey, what's going on? And they talked, and they said, oh, it's a miscommunication. I don't like Tim. I don't like anybody. I like you. You're my friend. So we're friends. And that was it. And it was it. That was it. It was over. But if you let it fester, it'll just keep going. People pick sides, and it's just like high school, but for 6th graders. So it's funny. I actually interviewed some of my high school kids about different bullying issues they had in elementary school. So I don't know about this first one, but I thought it was a good idea because this is what I was telling teachers: seek out mediators and leaders. So the kids were like, I showed them this presentation. They said, oh, well, that's a snitch. Well, nobody likes a tattletale, Tyrone. And I was like, what? Can't you be sneaky about it? And they were like, well, we don't like teacher pets. And I was like, oh, you know what? I remember that from elementary school. I didn't like the suck up or like the kid who was always like about the teacher. So I guess you gotta be careful with that. Not showing favoritism, but I say that because you're not gonna be able to see everything. Most of the stuff that happens, middle school, elementary school, high school, them smoking jewels in the bathroom, them fighting in the locker room. It usually happens where stuff where you can't be at. So the jewels will happen in the classroom. Hopefully not with elementary kids. It's usually middle school and up. But they'll just smoke right there, and you won't know it. They do it all the time in our school, and you'll be teaching your lesson, and you can't see them. But bathrooms, locker rooms, a lot of little kids will do stuff that you don't know about. And it can be really minor stuff like, I don't know, with boys, I know you've probably seen the movies or whatever, thinking that it's a joke. It's really not. They will compare penises in the bathroom. I don't know about girls, but boys will do that. I call about that. They'll just go unzip the pants and look at each other's stuff because they're curious. So that's just what they do. So bring parents into the equation. I know, especially my wife, that's what she does. You might think it's small and petty, but if they go home and tell their mom that you didn't do something, or you talked to so and so but you didn't talk to her, then the mom or dad might be upset. So as much as you can, bring parents into it. So. Keep going. So, like I talked about, different levels, different sizes. Another survey question I asked the kids about. The boys told me that little kids will pick on them if they're fat. They can't keep up in gym class, basketball, football, whatever sport it is. The boys that get picked on. The girls told me development stuff. So one girl said she started getting her breasts started getting larger when she was in 4th, 5th grade, and the girls then started messing with her. She started growing hair. She said something about hair in her armpit, and the girls made fun of her. So Molly, my wife's school, what we're going to do with health and wellness. I don't know how much your schools will do as far as sex education and like body identification and stuff like that. But they are going through that stage, so that's something to watch out for. And if you feel comfortable, talk to them about it. I don't know what your school allows, but they are going to come to you because they trust you. So once again, kids that are physically bigger, smaller, just kind of have to watch out for that. Like kids that they could be getting picked on because of that, and just you keep going. So this kid Drake, not his real name, but yeah, just trying to do everything he can just to get bigger and stronger like the other boys. And this is probably not all your job. I mean, granted, it's probably his parents and school social worker, or any kind of other advocate he has, but just to let him know there's nothing wrong with where he's at his level. He doesn't need to be like everybody else. And it's something that maybe you guys can sneak into your lessons. I don't know. At the high school level, we have advisory. if you guys had something like that or study hall in high school, where we can talk about other things like bullying and drugs, and talk about sexting. So it's something we might be able to bring up. You keep looking. So this is one where the high school was telling about how she was kind of growing up way too fast, her body, and so she didn't know how to understand it, and her friends didn't know how to understand it, so she kind of got picked on because of that. Kids at the high school level, not as much. That's something I told last class I was very impressed on. I got to even ninth grade center how the Hispanic kids, no one made fun of them, no one said anything. Like I said, they'll talk about, you having some fake Jordans on, all day they'll call you out, the boys will. Or like some other thing about your social economics, we'll talk about that. They're quick about that. But the Hispanic kids, they never mess with them, never talk about them. There's a lot of questions though, a lot of times with multicultural students. This is a transient type of area, so you will have kids from different parts of the world, different religions, ethnicities, backgrounds. Like one little girl who was Hispanic, had a lot of hair on her arm, and boys kept asking her, not even in a mean way, but just kind of asking like, why are you hairy? Like, why are you? So the teacher thought it was kind of like a sexual thing, but it wasn't. The kids were just curious. If you were in a jurisdiction like right now, I'm the only black person in the room, so if you're a little black girl, your hair is going to be different. So if you go to school in St. Mary's, Kansas, a lot of white kids are probably not racist. They're probably like, why do you have a do-rag? Why do you have your hair braided? Why is your hair look like that? Can I touch it? Like it's not, I don't even know if it's a curiosity thing. Why are you different? And I'm sure there's other cultures in here that have experienced that. So that's just something to like look out for. Big one, socioeconomics. With our jurisdiction at the Fit Closet, a lot of kids don't know about it. It's a great resource. The kids are really shy about it still. I try not to come up to them in front of them, but if I saw a kid wearing like the same sweater every day, and then I just remember what class he was in, I called the teacher and tell him to go to the office, and I say, hey man, we got a Fit Closet, we can get some clothes. But the kids be mean about it because, I don't know, they're just mean sometimes. So there's really, besides our Fit Closet, am I telling you guys to go out and buy stuff from them? No. You go to your comfort level. My friend who's a teacher in inner city Wichita, she will buy kids clothes, but it's probably, I don't know, that's just her prerogative. She likes to do it. So, when you guys discipline the kids, my advice is definitely keep your parents in the loop. But the way, when I talk to kids about stuff, they'll always try to, not always, but sometimes they think that teachers, they can play them. And they kind of get a feel of who the boss is. And like if they know the principal's coming in and she's in charge or he's in charge, and they might not come at you guys the same way, they might show them a little more respect. But that's something you can do that's something we dealt with before I went to school. Where we had to talk to the principal about coming in and basically, what's your name? So Liz? So if I'm the principal, and just basically take away your authority. Because if the kid sees that, they like know right away, you can't do anything to me. And so I don't even think the principal was aware that she was doing that, but then the kids were like, they just, so when she leaves, like, I'll just talk to her because you know. So, and even our supervisors are careful that our sergeant shows up, they pull us to the side, talk to us. But as soon as somebody is angry with us and they know that's my boss, like they lose all respect for me. So stay consistent. Like I said, the kids say they don't like the teacher's pet, and the kid that's always by the teacher and getting all the unfair treatment. So we go to the next one. School social workers, middle schools, they have some really awesome ones. They have elementary schools the same way, that the kids will gravitate to if they trust them. Guest speakers from time to time, readers in the classroom, technology and bullying. Whenever I get something new, unfortunately I don't have a lot of elementary stuff, I have a lot of high school stuff about, we have a drug and alcohol counselor. So the main thing we do at high school is drugs and alcohol, sexting, drugs and alcohol, sexting. So the bullying does happen, but it's more like, let's meet up and fight. And it's not really like, I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. It's like that person did something, and then meet up and fight. But you guys won't deal with that. You deal with the kid that does nothing at all and just gets picked on. So if I do have some stuff, I can pass it you guys away. You go to the next one, Rachel. I'll probably have an email you. So you can write down. I have an email in there. So any questions at all? I'm sure I know you guys wrote down questions. But any questions about let's see, like sexting with the kids or what else?
Can you talk a little bit more about maybe the cyberbullying and what you've seen in terms of elementary students?
Yes.
Cyberbullying?
So actually, what you were talking about earlier is very common. The group chats. I forgot about that. So what I say is just be real with them. Just come at it from your perspective, like a personal perspective, knowing that it's okay to have friends, it's okay to be in the group, but some kids feel like they have this pressure to be in the group, like they can't get out of that. If they start getting nasty, if the kids start being inappropriate, and they feel like they just want to be in the cool club, but they don't have to be. And then those group chats become like filled with a lot of hateful and mean stuff that people say. And I mean, it's kind of like your world, like whatever you think that is wrong, and don't be afraid to look at it. It's not like the sexing thing. You can look at a phone, you can read through it, there's nothing against the law to do that. This is your classroom, the kids trust you, they'll come and talk to you. Group chats, so we talked about all our social media ones.
Just be aware of the fact that a lot of these things are going to happen off campus. So they're not going to happen in your classroom. There's going to be some sort of things that are bullying in the classroom, but generally nowadays with all of Snapchat and social media and Instagram and people doing the YouTube things, there are things that are going to happen outside of the classroom, but the kids, it's going to affect them. And like Officer Thompson was saying, you notice that a kid is bubbly and talking to other people in class, and now all of a sudden they want to sit by themselves and they're putting their head down and they kind of sit with their arms crossed, and noticing those sorts of things and talking to them about it, not in front of everybody, but pulling that kid aside and talking with them, talking with their parents, and just some of the different options that you guys have with the school resource officer, with the counselors at your school, and just kind of realizing that now there is such a bigger side to bullying than just kids picking on each other at the school.
I don't know how far, you have a question, but I'll come to you, but that also reminds me of, if you guys have dealt with cutters and different other indications, so you have the kids that, they won't come out outright and tell you, like, I want to kill myself, but, like, obviously, when you start seeing cuts in their arms, something like that, the obvious DCF stuff, kids tell you their parents are beating them, or they don't have food at the house, you guys are all mandatory reporters, so you have to report that DCF. It's very easy just to call to hotline, take a report. But some stuff isn't, it's like this gray area where it's hard. Trying to say an example, like neglect, like there's different, your version of neglect, Kat's version of neglect might be different from mine, where, so a kid will tell you, my mom comes home, she doesn't really talk to me, she just hangs out with her boyfriend in her room, and like, that's it. Because you ask about the homework, like, I'm supposed to get the homework done? My mom's gonna tell me, but why not? Well, she's always with her boyfriend. And like, just let it go. Like, oh, but in some version, I mean, it can be considered neglect if she's just literally never spending time with her own kid. She's neglecting their schoolwork and their well-being, But it's something you might have to make a call on. And don't be afraid to get like nosy, because that can lead to you digging in. Next thing you know, it's my mom's boyfriend sexually molests. I mean, it can literally. I started a conversation about schoolwork, and it ended with my dad raping me 8 years ago. Like, I literally had that last semester. I don't know how we got there. She started breaking down, crying, and she said, my dad raped me 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, okay. So we did everything. But it probably would have never got there if she didn't trust me enough to talk to me about that little small thing that we were talking about at that time. You know what I mean? So, like, little details, I'm not saying it's always going to be that way. Maybe her mom just likes her boyfriend. She spent a time with him, but you have something.
Yeah, what do you do in a situation that a group just keeps denying the situation?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, for instance, I guess the bullying example when, the kids broke up and started dating another girl. What do you do if you tell you there's absolutely and they just don't want to talk to you?
Oh, okay. I got you. So, like, the victim in that case, if the kid was getting bullied. Well, what I do is, we did this too, like we both used to work actively together, so we're good at this. We're partners for a while. And there was times where whatever drunk person we're dealing with, they would just want to talk to me. It can be a female. I'm like, oh, female partner wants to talk to me because she's like, oh, this boy touched my butt in the bar. Oh, yeah, there you go, female officer. She's like, I want to talk to her. I want to talk to you. Oh, man, okay, sure. You know? But she probably never took any pride from that or whatever. Vice versa, some guy wants to talk to, I want to talk to Officer Payton, I want to talk to Tyrone Townsend, whatever your name is. But it's one of those things where, like, we know as officers, we do that a lot, each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then we're like, we know who's good to talk to and who's not. So that's a case where I would never give up, but I would keep at my resources. So whether it could be your principal, it could be a parent that's really good that the kid likes. The kid might just not like you. It could be a social worker. It could be somebody. It should be some adult in that building that the kid can open up to. But I would say don't give up. And at the end, if you can do this at the beginning, but just get their parent involved. But you will see this, you'll have issues with parents too. That's the hard part. I'm saying the kids don't give up. But once the parent says, it's like blocking you is kind of hard. Unless you see like abuse or something else. But if you've done all you can to try to get to them and open up about it, and their parents are on board, I would just say keep trying and keep digging into it.
So you found that they end up opening up to somebody?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had a situation where it wasn't one person. Because they see you in different, I guess, aspects. You're an authority figure because you're the person in that classroom, but at least my wife's school, they leave the classroom, they have like a reading thing, and then they have a different teacher for the gym, obviously because she's not a gym teacher, so they associate with these different like authority figures throughout the building. So I feel like they have like different relationships, but sometimes it might be you. You might be the one they want to talk to. So. Yes.
What about like standing up to
Oh, this is a good question because the last time I brought this up. So we talked about self-defense. So unfortunately, at least with our school district, if you defend yourself, if I come up and hit you and you hit me back, then you get suspended by the school, which sucks. I hate that. So you have parents and I tell them like that, dads or moms, I don't care. I told my son to stand up for himself. So if you suspend him, you suspend him. I don't care. But I told him to defend himself. Sometimes they take, even adults do, we deal with it. While I'm defending myself, he's talking shit from the driveway. So I walked out there and hit him. That's not self-defense. All I had to do was stay in the house and call the police. But there are situations where the kid's just standing there, he's getting punched, he's getting pushed, and he defends, or she defends herself. And it sucks because we, the police or SROs, were like, and parents are like, good, you defended yourself, you stood up to the bully. But sometimes the school is not on board. So I would just say, every school district is different, but just be the advocate. Maybe, hopefully some of this stuff will change. We've been trying to get it to change. So one example is, the last time this happened in the locker room, our principal suspended both of them 5 days, and then brought the kid back in 2 days. Like the victim. The kid was actually just defending himself. But he did have a little blame, so he could have walked away. But I don't blame him though, because the kid was like in his face. So that's a good question. Because you have to check. Do you know what school you're gonna be at? You don't know?
Well, but right now I'm at Illegal Practice.
Oh, okay. Fourth grade. Yeah, I don't know her policy. It might be, but it's tricky. I know why they do it because it's so hard. Like you don't know who to believe, so you just suspend both of them. But for us as police, if we see clearly you're getting battered, you're the victim, we're not going to punish you for defending yourself. So, and we tell the kids that it's hard because you want to empower them to defend themselves and stand up for themselves. But sometimes the school policy gets in the way. So.
We talk about the distinctions of standing up in terms of like just saying something or getting hit. What are the differences there?
Yeah, so what I say, I tell the teachers, right from the beginning, address it. Like, make your rules what they are. So every situation isn't going to be black and white, but to the best ability, the first thing they should do when they're getting attacked, whether it's physically, verbally, is tell you. So that way it helps, because if they get in a fight and you say, oh, and then the victim says, well, they've been picking on me for a week. And you're like, you never told me. Then you have more like clout or more merit to say, well, you are going to get punished because you should have came to me. Like we have these protocols in place. Not always the case. The kid just may not have a relationship with you. They don't want to come to you. But in general, like a lot of teachers have those classroom rules. You do this, come to me, come to the teacher, let someone know. Once they let you know, then it gives you more, it gives them more empowerment to defend themselves because they've already told the teacher, you've already addressed it to the bully, and then if they keep at it, then hopefully what happens is the bully gets in trouble and this person doesn't. So does that make sense? Establish those rules. Is that what you would do?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. We've talked a lot about in here about the setting up the expectations as a community. We determine what the rules are together so everyone has more investment in them. But yeah, definitely really following those rules that we've determined are important to us as a group.
Yeah. I agree.
And then what's the difference between, like you said this morning, you talked about battery versus other things like
Oh yeah, assault. So at least our school district kind of goes like along the lines of what our statutes are. Assault, a lot of people think assault is hitting somebody, but it's not. Assault is just basically scaring somebody. But it's a fear of immediate apprehension. So it's like if I even stand here next to Kat and was like, man, I don't like you, but next Friday, I'm gonna realize. Just next Friday, 3 o'clock, walk away. I mean, it could be like assault, but it's probably a permanent threat. I just threatened her at a later date that something bad is gonna happen to her. So she's not immediate. Look at her, she's just chilling. She got her arms. She's like relaxed. It's got to be like apprehension, immediate. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get you right now. Like now, it's gonna go down. Then it's assault. Battery is gonna actually hit her. And battery doesn't mean it doesn't have to be punching. It can be kicking. It can be any unwanted physical contact. And rude, assaulting matter is battery. We don't really get into this much, but you will have the lawyer parents who try to say like at recess, my kid got pushed down too hard. It's all about interviewing the people and knowing the intent. Most of the time, their kids are not really meaning that. But there's times when they're playing a game and that kid's mind is like, all right, I'm gonna run this base and I'm gonna shove the hell out of this kid because I don't like him. And they try to sneak it into the game and they run and do it. That's just gonna be you guys' judgment. So batteries, physical contact, assault is when I'm scaring you. Right now, you think something's gonna happen. Criminal threat is I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna kick your butt at 3 o'clock after school. So, yeah.
Working at the high school, are there like certain teachers that you interact with more, like class-wise or grades?
Yeah, for SROs, especially last year, it was school-wise, it was Marlatt, Lee Elementary, and North. Anybody know why though? If you know the schools, it would make sense. Those schools are the ones that have the program with the kids that they have the IEPs, they have special education with their physical, with their behavior, so they have the padded rooms with the cameras in them, and then the kids that have to do the net holds. Is that what it's called? The net?
Yeah.
Net. And, yeah, you have to be licensed or certified. You hold it for like 1 minute, and you have to rotate. So we deal with those kids, like one kid had schizophrenia, anxiety, acute something disorder, and he would just be fine, but he would just go off. And he would hit teachers with cones, and he would try to swallow staples, and he would tap, and they were great. I had never seen, these teachers would be sweating, holding this kid, telling him, I love you, and this is more special education type stuff, but those are, because they would call the school resource officers to come and just try to defuse the situation. At the high school, along the same lines, we have a JAG program, JAG-K, the kids that are like at risk. They don't like to use that. I guess you guys aren't using it anymore, but I use it. At risk kids that grew up like me. I grew up in KCK, poor, single mom, no dad, bad as hell. Like I was bad in the classroom, got suspended, all that. So I was at risk. So those kids, because those kids get in trouble a lot, suspended, fight, bring drugs to school, alcohol to school. You usually don't deal with the teachers that have the AP Euro classes. You just don't, because they're paying attention. They're in class. You're just not going to do it. Do they probably smoke jewels at home? Yeah. Do they probably smoke weed at some little rich party with other rich? Yep, probably. But they're not going to do it at school, so you don't really react. You don't really interact with them as much. You're not doing this stuff. So SPED teachers at school, some of us at-risk kids, and then a lot of times the teachers. It's funny when you first get to a building. Some of them maybe they never had an SRO experience, so they're kind of scared to tell you, and the kids will engage that, so they'll lie to them. Addison, they all email that says, if the kid says they're talking to me, check to me because they're probably lying to me. So they figured out the teachers were scared of me, so they wouldn't ask me. They wouldn't question me. So they would just say, I'm with Officer Townsend. But they wouldn't see it or something. Yeah. Did you go to Manhattan High?
I did, yeah.
That makes sense. So, I want to say more, but I don't want to give out more information. But. Is anybody here from KCK at all? No? Oh, Lakewood? Oh, you are? Where are you from? Oh, okay. That's not KCK. It's a pretty village.
It's right there.
It is right there. Shamish East?
Yeah.
Did you know Mr. Muhammad?
Yeah, I didn't never took his class though.
Oh, you know who he is? That was my roommate in college.
Really?
We both went to Florida State. Yeah. Anybody else from KCK?
But Olathe, she's from Olathe.
Miss Rachel. Like the South? East?
Shawnee, Michigan.
Shamish South?
Close. We were only partners for a year.
So- Who?
Do you know either of my parents Phil and Lily Yao? I don't know.
We're the teacher.
No, like they were like. So my dad's a public defender, so he's like at the police department all the time, and my mom works in the records department.
Oh, yes. That's your mom?
Yeah,
I think she was that old. She seems young.
I'm her youngest child.
The kids all the time, they're like, Officer Townsend, you're old, you're 34. I'm like, I'm not old. And they're like, your mom's 30. Not all the time. But there's kids that are 16 and their mom's 30. And I was just, trying to do the math. I'm not old. So anyway, but did you guys have those questions like last time?
Yeah, let me pull it up real quick.
One thing that's good to know too is a lot of times when you get I'm the officer who's gonna respond to a lot of these calls, but I don't know if it's a bullying thing. It's something that you should go and ask an SRO officer. If you have contacts with the SRO or the counselor at your school, they're gonna be your best resource because when you come and ask me a question about this stuff, honestly, I was told that I was doing this presentation and I didn't know what I was gonna say because I don't deal with bullying and it's not technically illegal. There's no law in the state of Kansas that says that the child can't do that. So it's something more that he deals with because he is in the school. And I would go and I'd be like, that's not illegal, you can't do anything about it.
So that first question, is that Emma? Is that Emma? Yeah. So, of course, Emma. Yeah, okay. Prairie Village over there. No, I like Prairie Village. I used to actually live in Prairie Village. It's a weird story. But, so how do you find a solution? Okay, so you say that's what I was bringing up earlier in this table when I used Caitlin as an example. So much what happens is they could, like, most of the time they really don't know what is going on. They'll say, I heard it, and that is so not true. So a lot of times if it's, Emma's talking about me. How do you know Emma's talking about me? Well, I heard it from so-and-so. And you kind of got to play. Now, the only thing is, that's my job. Like, that's the only thing I have time to do. You got to do lesson plans. You have to do, you got a job to do. You got 20-something kids to deal with. So do you have time to go down this chain of events? Sometimes probably not. You're playing time with PLT. Like, you don't have all this time like I do. This is my only job is to do all this pettiness. So if you can delegate out resources, but in a way I should say that if it's your classroom and if you feel it's that important of the job, when I say delegate, I mean just send an email to parents and have them deal with it. But maybe you try that once and you realize that maybe they're too busy, so they don't think it's that big a deal. It's all about if it's a big problem in your classroom. If you don't feel like it's a big problem in your classroom, you can delegate. But if it is, I would get ahead of it and just solve it myself. Just take 5 minutes, pull them in, and just deal with it because you'll find out pretty quick like what's going on. So does that make sense? Because I know you guys are busy, trust me. So how did you decide to be an SRO? I wanted to be an SRO. I used to work with kids at, who asked that question? Okay. So I used to work with juvenile defenders. So when I got out of the Army, I went to Florida State, graduated, like almost 40 grand student loans, and I wanted to be a dad, so I joined the Army. Army paid all of it for free, wiped it out. I lived in Colorado Springs, it was awesome, did 4 years. And then I was like, I wanted to work with kids, so I worked 1 year at Olathe, Kansas Juvenile Department of Corrections with like offenders to the age of 17, 11 to 17. But I could only do so much impact behind bars because they already got in trouble. So I was like, let me go outside before they get in trouble. And I can see if I can So that's why.
All right, I think that's enough for now. I hope you enjoyed this presentation by the Riley County Police Department. The information they shared on bullying, I think, is very important. If you have any questions or follow-up concerns, the information and contact for our presenters is here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on bullying, and I hope it was educational. Thank you.